every doctor or OBGYN will be very truthful about this, that they don't learn about the hormonal blueprint, birth physiology in med school. It's not part of the curriculum before we're born that can inform the degree to which our soul's highest expression enters form. It's one of our greatest, most ancient technologies that we have. We are sonic beings. We are sound. And you go, yeah, no worries, no worries. That that inner voice is going to get so loud when you're pregnant that it's going to come out. It's going to be like, no, because feelings are stronger. This brings into question, oh, well, what makes you open your heart? You can't just go, open your heart right now. It doesn't work like that. But that's what's happening in birth. That's not what opens a heart. That's not what female physiology responds to.
Hey, welcome to another conversation. We have Victoria Rose from Luminous Birth, and she has this profound experience in this physiology world of birth. And today we are going to talk about the voice that we inherited even before we were born. The moment she said that words, I was like, what are you talking about? So I'm so eager to learn more from her. Victoria, welcome, and please introduce yourself to us and dive into the topic right away.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really glad and grateful to be here. It's really been a pleasure, all of the conversations we've had this far, and I'm just really thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Victoria, tell us about what you mean when you say inherited this voice of our whole being even before we were born.
Well, it's interesting that you quote what I said because I actually don't remember saying that, which is the case a lot of times, which is, I remember when you said, I'm like, "Oh, okay, interesting." What comes up for me when you speak about this is our soul's highest expression. When we talk about voice, we're talking about expression. The voice could be the vehicle that carries our expression, our authenticity into the world. There is a lot, so there's imprinting that takes place before we're born that can inform the degree to which our soul's highest expression enters form. And so we can kind of look at that. And then I would say that, yeah, the voice is innate. It's an innate part of who we are as human beings. It's one of our greatest, most ancient technologies that we have. Sound. We are sonic beings. We are sound. And that opens up another avenue that we could explore in terms of how do we preserve the frequency, the pristine consciousness of the soul as it enters form? And what are some of the things that we do to mothers and babies during pregnancy that could be interrupting the frequency, the vibrations of babies? If we're vibratory beings, then we have to consider how some of the vibrations that we're surrounding babies in could be harmful and likewise could be also very, very supportive. But I would say that the voice is not developmental. It's an innate part of the human being. The voice, through my lens, but pre and perinatal psychology has pointed to this as perhaps, this might be a question and inquiry, perhaps the voice exists before the actual larynx and vocal parts of our anatomy are actually developed. And it is the information that babies in utero are surrounded in and that be the energies, the environment, that's the energy that informs the development of that being. So the way in which the voice develops may be, epigenetics shows us that it may be, yeah, definitely informed by the input from the environment being the mother, she who is housing the baby. So her thoughts and feelings and beliefs and things, and also what's going on in the world at large. So how embodied is the mother in using her voice? How much is she able to speak up and express her needs in pregnancy, what's going on in the world as a society, as a culture, in different places in the world. Women may have more voice than others, but it is also true that we are all coming out of a time where women didn't always have a voice. And so there's global implications to that. And then there's very individual implications to that, which is we have a feeling, we vocalize our need, and then as women, we have a really strong tendency to second guess ourselves, right? Or to say, if someone says, no, you're wrong, we go, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong, right? So let's imagine what I had brought forward before, which is the voice is innate. It's not developmental. The silencing of the voice is developmental. So as we were growing inside of our mothers, we were always expressing our needs. We were like, I'm here. I have come. I have made it. I am here. We had needs and we expressed those needs on this physiological, biological, symbiotic way with the mother. So the baby in utero's needs is expressed directly through the needs of the mother. And so if she's unable to respond to her needs, then the baby in utero learns I can express my needs, but it doesn't really matter because they don't get met. And so our voice begins to be imprinted before birth. That would be an inheritance, right? The original blueprint, like we were in our original essence, we're not questioning our needs. We're not questioning who we are or anything like that. And therefore, the expression and the communication is really very, very clear. But in our modern times, because we have a very industrialized version of birth whereby women are outsourcing, looking outside to someone or something to inform them about the well being of themselves and their babies, babies are going unheard. They're communicating very, very, very clearly, but the mother-baby channel of communication, it's not that it's not there, it's always there. But if she's out there listening to everything out there, it's hard for her to hear. So we're communicating since the very beginning, maybe even preconception. In my work, I would say, yeah, beginning preconception. I help mamas to hear what their babies are saying already from the time of preconception, right? And we can often hear what they're saying through tuning to our own needs, looking at what's going on in our lives. They communicate in multi-dimensional ways. And then, yeah, when babies are born, while they aren't speaking yet the language that their mama speaks, they're still speaking. They are communicating very clearly through body language, through their cries, through all of these things. But if the baby's not being met, then this is where the vocals we can learn, there can be imprints. We can learn, I can speak out what I need. I can pursue my direction or, express who I truly am. But if it's not received, then that's where it starts. So once we're born, and then everything that follows may or may not reinforce the false belief that what we have to say isn't important. So there's lots of things, there's lots of different avenues that we could look at, but I just wanted to distill that yes, we are sound, we are beings of vibration, and the voice is our channel of expression and our power. Also, and that's an innate part of who we are, depending on how much influence we have from the time of conception, then that will inform the way that we develop.
So I would like to know what is the knowing, the awareness of this power of their voice and the unconscious version of it. How do they? What is the difference, or what is the powerful impact you have seen?
my journey with women who would be very, very much in awareness of the power of their voice and the influence on unborn babies, on their unborn babies, would be very much just continuously extending them the confidence to exercise their voice, like to use their voice. And um, so with luminous birth in particular, real work of luminous birth is helping the divine excellence, as if you will, of the soul to remain intact from the very beginning. In simple terms, that means helping the essence, the purpose of the soul to stay intact, that they don't need to grow questioning or searching for who they truly are, that it all gets to remain intact. So their unique gifts come in, their unique genius, their unique expression comes into the world. If we just consider that that soul likely made a big, 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 big journey to enter form, to enter into a time and space where time and space now has edges, now has definition, and we start to go through this journey of expanding, yeah, into a human being. And so, how can we soften that experience? How can we help a soul to enter form but be still connected to to source? And sounding, singing is one of the most incredible ways to do that. So yeah, I encourage mamas to sound, to sing, or even doing toning. It's a wonderful way to connect her to her body, to clear out maybe energies of the world or of what's going on in her life, or yeah, to clear her energy and to feel more connected to the baby. Definitely ancient chants or mantras or things like this, especially if they have a deep symbolic meaning to her, are going to connect her more deeply to her heart. And therefore, baby will then be inevitably flooded with the hormones that correspond with love and safety and connection, oxytocin and other endorphins. And so the baby experiences all of that. I would really encourage mothers to, if they are engaging with things like this that are emitting a sound that we can't hear, but babies can, like dolphins can, these high sensory beings can perceive these sounds, and they're really high pitched kinds of sounds we cannot hear, but they create a static and they create a severance between the baby and source. So I encourage mamas to just take extra care, like not have the cell phone on your body. Or some mamas, if they work at a computer and they need to engage with all this electromagnetic frequencies, that they maybe, at least through their intention, intend to protect the baby from that energy, just having the awareness. With awareness, maybe they do 1 hour instead of 3 hours at a time, for example. Or maybe they have some sort of protection that can actually give protection to the womb. There's all kinds of things now that do that. And then another one would be, yeah, when it comes to ultrasonar technology, so ultrasounds, being very, very aware that this also emits a really, really dense sound that, yeah, we are discovering is very painful for unborn babies. And it's a very controversial conversation because we have been sold that ultrasounds are very safe and that they save lives. And while there might be truth to that, they've become routine, and not just routine, having many, many, many in the same pregnancy and so on. And so I always say, if you are going to have an ultrasound, talk to the baby first. Tell them about what they will experience. I've listened to different doctors actually converse about this, and they've concluded that an ultrasound for the baby would be equivalent to us in terms of the sound that penetrates the amniotic fluid and how the baby is experiencing that would be equivalent to if you start a chainsaw like right next to your ear, or that you're next to the New York City subway It's really, 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 really loud. In our modern culture, we aren't as aware of sound and frequency. Well, many are. I think that it still deserves extra attention when it comes to the development of human beings. And there's all kinds of scientific research that shows that that sound and vibration has an effect on molecular structure. Water is conscious and transmits sound and information. And so if we just start to break it down, we can go, oh yeah, there's really something to this, and then be a little more considerate as to how we interact with the baby. The baby can hear long before the auricular part of the anatomy is formed. So we think that everything is very anatomical and cut into parts, but babies and humans are way more multidimensional than that. So it's good to have these kind of conversations because then we start to remember. Right. So we can say, well, these things kind of interfere. Ultrasounds interfere. EMFs interfere. The 5G and all these things, Bluetooth interferes. Okay, let's be aware of that. But then we also have sound that enhances and optimizes the development. And this isn't my realm of genius. I'm not a sound practitioner or anything like that. So let's be clear about that. There are amazing people out there who study the effects of sound and the effects of music on human development. I am deeply connected to the soul consciousness of the souls that are incarnating, and I feel very deeply on a spiritual level that this sound, just as it can interrupt the soul's process of incarnating, it can also enhance and remember them of that ancient place from where they came and we all maybe originated.
Wow. That's a huge connection when it comes to the voice and sound and vibration. Let's go back to the preconception. I would like to know what is this whole idea of the voice for the preconception? How does it work? What does it mean? And how we can prepare ourselves? I'm pretty sure whoever listening to this, gaining this knowledge right now is freaking out. So what can we do now?
My gosh, what a beautiful question. Well, okay, here's where I would start. I would say that first and foremost, whether you've had a baby or multiple babies or no babies at all, okay, maybe you haven't given birth at all, maybe you have given birth. It doesn't matter. We were all born. We all went on the journey of being born, and the wisdom of birth is indigenous in all 100 trillion of all of our cells. It's a path of remembering. And conception, pregnancy, and birth is the pathway that guides us back home to who we truly are. There's many plant medicines that you can go and experience. We call them entheogens. They're entheogenic. And what entheogenic means is it's a substance that connects you to this sense of oneness with the divine. That's what entheos means. And genic just means origin. So there's many different ways to gain this sense of connection with who we truly are, from where we came, from oneness with the universe. But birth is that. Birth is the most entheogenic experience available to a human being. And I think not many people are learning about birth in that way, right? Not many people are being told, okay, this is going to be the brightest light that's ever shined into your universe, and it's going to illuminate everything that's not you because it's designed exquisitely to bring you home into who you truly are. That's who your baby's choosing. That's who they need to be their mother or their father. And so it is designed to bring us back home into our hearts, into who we really truly are. So with that, I say, if you are going to be a mother, or you want to be a mother, or if you are a mother, if you're preparing for conception, or if you're already preparing to give birth, getting back in touch with our voice. Every one of us, we had a first sound that we made when we were born. Some babies are born very quiet and they don't make sound. A lot of babies do make a sound. Eventually, the baby will make a sound. And the first sound that babies typically make is ah. And actually, that ah, it's the same sound as the heart. It vibrates the frequency of the heart. And so to reconnect with that original primal sound that we made is powerful, and to get used to your own sound, and to also for us to remember the anatomical correlation between the voice, the throat, and the yoni, the cervix. And anatomically, so in terms of our anatomy, they're really quite identical. If you have ever seen the picture of the larynx and the vulva, they look identical. But in the terms of the physiology of labor and birth, the cervix opens when the heart opens. And when the heart opens, the cervix opens. So one doesn't happen without the other. In Taoist reflexology, they say that all the points, the meridians of the cervix correspond to the heart. So in other, even more ancient medical systems, they know this. So this brings into question, oh, well, what makes you open your heart? You can't just go, open your heart right now. It doesn't work like that. But that's what's happening in birth. Women are being put on the clock. Your cervix needs to open, and that's all there is to it, right? And there's dilation, and it's measured, and it's monitored, and it's observed, and it's checked, and it's prodded, and it's poked, and it's all these things. And that's not what opens a heart. That's not what female physiology responds to. A woman opens when we feel safe, and safety is not checked boxes on a medical history form. Despite what we've been taught, it is a feeling. And the same thing that makes us feel safe in lovemaking is what makes us feel safe in giving birth. So think, warmth, softness, not having strangers walking in the room, for example, right? It's the exact same thing. You have bright lights and strangers coming in, and things tend to stop, intelligently so. So making connection between the throat and the cervix. A lot of birth keepers or midwives will help mamas to soften the jaw, because we know when the jaw softens, the yoni softens. They're connected. And if you can just do it right now, you'll actually feel that connection. So make sound, sing, or just do, the sounding that I was talking about. When you sound, you balance all the energy of your body, of your mind, of your spirit. You bring things together. You raise the vibrational frequency of your cells, and it becomes easier to hear the wisdom of your body. Becomes easier to hear your intuition. And in this way, you hear what your baby's saying all the time, and you trust yourself more. You trust your baby more. And then the other part of the voice, if you are preconception, start to use your voice in terms of asserting your needs, because as women, oh wow, are we good at putting everyone else's needs before our own? And while that might be a default mode that you have now that you can kind of slip through life with, when you're pregnant, you will not be able to do that. So the things that you used to be able to kind of just slip under the rug and say, yeah, it's okay, when it's really not okay with you. And you go, yeah, no worries, no worries. That inner voice is going to get so loud when you're pregnant that it's going to come out. It's going to be like, no, because it's your feelings are stronger, and this is a part of the biological intelligence of pregnancy and birth, because you voicing your needs and voicing your truth is the only real protection that your baby has. They are completely reliant on you to take care of your needs, to voice your needs, because as you meet your own needs, you meet their needs. So get used to speaking your needs or your wants, and pay attention especially to that inner voice that's not your true voice, but it's like that part of you that you have an intuition that then second guesses you. That goes, come on, what were you thinking? You didn't need to say it like, that there's this term gets flying around these days that I don't love the term, but I'll use it because people will know what I'm talking about. Gaslighting. And I always say, gaslighting doesn't work unless you gaslight yourself. So if you're your truth and you're in your power, even if what you're saying isn't widely accepted or is judged, or anything, doesn't matter. You can stay there and you can witness the part of you that wants to be accepted and belong and all those things, but stay by your side. Do not abandon yourself. Stay there with yourself. Because once all that noise gets quiet, because people, believe it or not, have better things to do, then, you know, then you'll feel your power, right? We start to feel our power again. This is really important because when you're pregnant, you and only you are going to know what you need, what your baby needs. And that's going to change in every pregnancy. What you need in this pregnancy with this baby might be the complete total opposite in the next pregnancy. And the truth is, only you know what that is in any given moment. When you know what that need is, it's important. And I think this is what a lot of women are unprepared for. And it's sad that it's like this, but when you're pregnant and then even when you're a mother, you have so many opinions coming at you. You feel in your body and your heart what's right for you. You make a decision based on what you feel is right. And then you have maybe doctors, maybe midwives, maybe a whole bunch of scientific research. And then you have your neighbor and your auntie and her birth story. But this happened to me and that happened. And we were, and so there's all this noise. So you need to be able to hear your voice in a crowd of shouting people, and it gets louder and it gets louder, and then I work with mothers every single day, and I know the kinds of noise that they're steeped in. Yeah, then eventually it's to diaper or to not diaper, and to feed these foods for the first foods or not these foods, and then yeah, to get this or that. It's endless, and then it's to school or not school or unschool, or it's going to keep going. And so the time to connect with your voice is preconception, and the more you you strengthen the muscle, the capacity to be able to do that now, the more you'll discover, oh wow, that leads me in a good direction, and that muscle will remain strong and only get stronger when you're then pregnant, when you're then birthing, and then when you're mothering an infant, a toddler, a teenager. I mean, we need to have a voice. And then just lastly, I'll say that voicing and sounding and making sound during childbirth is one of the best ways of transforming pain into ease. So it's more effective than pain medications. It really can be, if you picture going through maybe a rough sea of ocean, it's unpredictable, and there's some waves that are coming small, but then there's a big one. Picture that your sound is like the canoe. It keeps you connected, and it can be the most powerful way to reduce the pain of birth or to totally transform your experience of it.
I wanted to ask about how we root our voice now that the baby and us are in this relationship, and this voice is coming out to us to achieve that orgasmic birth. That word has been like a buzzword out there, and women are really confused. I feel like this is like the nutshell, the voice, the connection of the voice, perinatal, prenatal, the whole conception to that orgasmic birth that everyone is talking about. How can women achieve that? Is it by choice? Is it environment? Tell us more about
Wow, beautiful question. I love that question. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, where to start with this? Well, let's just remember that everything is frequency and everything is vibration. So, I want to touch on some of the terminologies that we've been taught to use around birth and actually changing the language that we use to speak about birth. Yeah, the sensation of your baby coming, of the surge of your baby coming closer to being in your arms. So, that our language can be a more truthful expression of what is actually taking place. And I like to do that with all my clients. I like to ask, let's just discover what language do you want to use? And I think yes, learning about birth physiology is really helpful because when you really learn birth physiology, and let's just be clear right out of the gate, and I think that every doctor or OBGYN will be very truthful about this, that they don't learn about the hormonal blueprint, birth physiology in med school. It's not part of the curriculum. Okay. So that is very obvious when you look at the ways pregnant women are cared for, if we can call it that, inside of the medical system. And I always want to be clear, I am not ever saying that you should not birth your baby inside the medical system. I'm not saying that. I'm not against that. I think that some babies really do need to be born inside of the system. What I'm saying is that we need to become informed and very knowledgeable about the physiological needs of pregnant and birthing women. And in this way, we can understand what promotes the physiology, what supports it, what makes it win, what makes it excel, what turns it all into victory, what makes it express like in and we can also know what disrupts it, what interferes with it. And also, when you learn about birth physiology, what you learn is that birth is hormonally identical to lovemaking. It's hormonally identical to orgasm. There is a difference. One of the differences is that in birth, a woman produces levels of oxytocin that far surpass orgasm, right? So, what that means is not that every woman is going to experience birth as orgasmic or as this feeling of total love, total connection, total safety, because oxytocin is the hormone of love and safety and connection. Doesn't mean that. But what it for sure does mean is that nature didn't design it to be painful. So when we know that, we start to prepare for it a lot different. We go, okay, well, the design is pretty freaking perfect. Like the design is wow. This is like exquisiteness. So how can I like amplify the design, if you will, right? And how can I be very cautious about the things that will inhibit and interrupt it? Birth physiology, learning about it can really change the game. It will change how you prepare for it. It will open you up to what are what actually does make you feel safe. But what I'll also say, and this is why the fertility and preconception program that I developed, as well as the prenatal birth preparation program that I developed, it's rooted in the healing of our own birth and pre-birth conception and preconception imprints. And that is because the beliefs that we hold about birth are held in our bodies and they're informed by our own pre and perinatal experiences. So that's a very nuanced thing, but in basic terms, that means that you might think that you believe that birth is a very natural, peaceful event, but your body learned that it is not that. Your birth experience may have well taught you that birth is, you can almost die doing it, or, it's very painful, or it leads you to total annihilation or separateness from your mother, from source, all of these things. This is kind of too deep to go into here, but I just want to give mention to it because beliefs are not cognitive. They're not intellectual. They are held in our bodies. Memory isn't what we remember. It's more accurately what we don't remember. And memory is, in fact, it's the way that we experience life. And more than that, the way we then interpret our experiences. So your memory, where you may not remember cognitively your birth, your memory of your birth is going to reveal in the way that you experience pregnancy and birth. So if you can become coherent with a skilled practitioner can help you with this, like myself, and there's others in the realm of pre and perinatal therapy and psychology, the more you can do that, then the more you can consciously choose blissful birth, choose easeful birth. And and why do I use the word choose? Because you asked, is it a choice? Can you just choose it? Yes, you can choose it and you must choose it. And you're the only one that can choose it for you. But the choice isn't like, I'm going to have a peaceful home birth. The choice is made in every single decision that you make. And that's why I bring up birth imprints, because your imprints, that is what your own birth and pre-birth and conception experiences taught you about life. Those were your first impressions. They shaped your beliefs. Those are the unconscious archives that run your life. They also inform your values, and your values are going to be what inform all of your decisions. So, in order to come into sovereignty, in order to speak up loud and clear about what you want, or to say, thank you, I pass, two very simple words. You can just say to anything that's offered to you in pregnancy, in birth, and at any time in life, you can say, I pass. But in order to do that, with total confidence and even compassion and not be gaslighting yourself at the same time, yeah, then you have to be coherent with your own history, because likely your mama wasn't able to do that. And so your voice was silenced in the womb, and she was maybe silencing herself because it's the time that we're coming out of. And still, there's so many scenarios where women don't have a voice, are not being respected for their voice. So, yes, the choice you get to choose. The choice is yours, but the choice is an active role. The choice is knowing what protects birth physiology and then actively, consciously choosing to move in the direction of love and trust throughout your pregnancy and not fear, and actively choosing to keep all of the things and the people that are interrupting what your physiology and what the wisdom of birth requires m- um, in order to remain peaceful and blissful and pain-free. I want to be very cautious with that word, but orgasmic. But in order for it to it is that. What I'm saying is that it already is that in nature. So, you know, we don't make it that. We have to protect its original design. So yeah, we choose. If you want to if you have a sweet meal and you wanna keep it sweet, then you consciously choose not to put spicy stuff on it. It's a choice, and you make it over and over again, and you have to be really connected to your inner voice, because you're gonna be making decisions that probably not too many people agree with and may have strong opinions about. So this is how I would answer that.
Fantastic. So, how do we remember our voice? How do we remember this voice that we are talking about? There's like so many ways to suppress ourselves with our life before we were born, before even the conception. So now that I have known this knowledge, how do I remember and how do I root myself into it?
Yeah, this is where we go, well, we can intellectualize it and we can talk about it, but the most direct route to remember your voice is to use your voice, to sing, make sound. Consider that your voice is the vehicle, and you get in the vehicle and you just drive. But there's no destination, there's no routes, there's no directions, you get in the car without an agenda, without a destination, and you just drive. And we let go of the need to somehow sound good, you know. You sound beautiful. So I would say, yeah, start singing. And if you're like, oh, I don't sing, or I'm not a good singer, whatever comes up, very natural. It's not natural, but it's become normal because, like you said, the voice has been so suppressed. But just think of a song that you listened to as a child, or the song that maybe your mother sang to you. It can be "Row, Row Your Boat." Sing it. The voice is the direct pathway to the source creation energy that you are. It's like a gateway, it's a doorway, it's a portal. So I would say that's the most direct route, and it will also silence that thinking mind. It's like if a plant is dying, you just give it water. Just water it. It comes right back to life. So we can talk about ways and strategies and ways to think about it. My recommendation is just do it. And as one of my teachers said one time, he said, and it always stuck with me, he says, it's easier done than said. So often we say easier said than done. Because I just have a huge block and I just, can't. The last time I talked, I got scolded, and that is still okay. Let's change the narrative. It's easier done than said. And so just do it. Just sing. Sing.
I know I have that problem with lots of people that I met here in US, and everyone say they can't sing. It's just how who we are. Now I know why. You're just suppressing that voice. It has been suppressed not by you, but every single one in your generation. It's going to take a lot of conscious choices to unroot it in a different way. So just do it. Just do it instead of thinking about it. Being to be in the being body, it's kind of hard for us now because we are in the doing body all the time. Something that I've just recently learned and I'm still unlearning. So the final question I have is how women can use their voice, bring in the collaboration that she needs, not only in the birth journey, but for everything else, especially the afterward, the postpartum, especially with her husband, who she's going to be the day to day she's going to meet. She's now going to see that man as a father of her child. It's a huge transition. Who she bring in her new voice, the voice that has taught her, do not say no to me anymore. It happens in the pregnancy. I have experienced it. I don't know how to explain it, but I would love you to explain and express this for everyone.
Wow. Okay, well, what really comes up for me when you ask this question is to begin to get very comfortable getting out of your thinking brain and into your body. So, you and your partner can do this exercise together, where you may have questions for your unborn baby or your baby that's not even been conceived yet. And so you can write down those questions, and then You can use your voice as a command language to say, I intend my thinking brain and everything I think I know to get out of the way. And I intend to connect clearly with the consciousness of my baby, preconceived or my unborn baby. And you each have a sheet of paper and you ask the question and then you don't think about it, you just write down the answer. And this is a beautiful thing to do together because and some people can go like it's common to second guess yourself to go, oh, I'm just making this up, or this isn't really the wisdom of my baby. I'm just, this is me. That's why it's so powerful to do it together because then you can compare your answers. And it can be really interesting to see almost every time I facilitate these kinds of exercises with couples, they both have very similar answers, sometimes exact wording, and becomes very clear that they're both speaking to the same soul, and a lot of the answers aren't like super esoteric. It's like very clear, simple, to the point. So that's one way. Yeah, practice, do things that get you out of your brain and into your body. Write, sing, dance, move your body, swim, discover, learn a new thing, intuitive craft or art or something. And then the other thing is, yeah, begin to embrace uncertainty and the mystery. Because as you are going to birth a baby, you are also going to get born. And so you're re-welcoming yourself into your life. You're getting to know who you are, and you don't maybe know her yet. And so just as you're going to get to know your baby, hopefully you're not going to decide who they are. You're going to, with lots of curiosity, discover who they are and what they like and don't like. You can bring the same kind of um, co- loving awareness to yourself and be okay with falling down and making mistakes and not saying the thing in the right way that you wanted, or just being okay with getting to know yourself. And then as you are more compassionate and tender with yourself, you'll be able to offer that to each other. And in our birth preparation program and preconception program, one of the things that makes it so unique is that we include the father or the birth partner. And I would say that has the most radical influence on birth outcomes, transforms birth outcomes. We see time and time again. Yeah, when he is honored for the transformation that he's also going through, then he has more capacity to then be present for her transformation. They're getting to know each other. And even if they already have children, we're getting to know each other, not just as a parent of one, but as a parent of two or a parent of four. And then to go beyond that, every single child that you have has different needs. And so you're going to become someone different each time. And so being willing to give each other and yourself permission to be new every single day and to really surround yourself in people that are willing to sing with you the whole time, to sing with you, not at you, with you, and to go through that transformation with you. Yes, through pregnancy, through birth, and beyond.
Fantastic. Root yourself with your voice. Find it again and you'll be whole. That's what I take from this whole conversation. Victoria, thank you so much for your time. And I hope all the listeners, whoever have stayed with us till this moment, find Victoria and support, learn from her what she have just spoke about, the whole work that she does. It's huge out there. Victoria, thank you so much. I feel complete. How about you?
I do too. Thank you, sister. Thank you.